U.S. President Donald Trump's annexation threats are getting a frosty reception in Greenland. Well, just ask Mark Critch, who went to the capital dressed like the president.
How much is it going to cost? You're going to laugh at the offer, quite frankly. This guy is a disaster. There's no way you're willing to make a deal.
This is our home. We are not for sale for a reason. We cannot buy it ourselves. We don't own the land. We are part of the land.
So I'm hearing a maybe.
No. You're not hearing anything other than a hard no.
The deal's off!
Good.
So like Canada, Greenlanders have made it clear they have little to no interest in becoming part of the United States. But what would they say directly to the U.S. president if given the opportunity? Well, this hour's 22 minutes gave them that chance, sort of. Mark Critch joins me now with more on what he heard from Greenlanders. Mark, good to see you, man. Disappointed you're not in your Trump outfit, but, you know, that's just the way it rolls here on the news side of the CBC. Look, I know it's a sketch, it's a comedy bit, but it's a serious issue for people up there, right? I mean, what were you hearing from just normal people when you were there for the few days that you were up there doing this work? How seriously are they taking this?
They're taking it very, very seriously, and things were starting to calm down as Mr. Trump began to back away with his NATO deal. But people had just been told that they needed to prepare emergency bags in case the power went out. And when I was there, the power did go out. It was weather-related, but it scared an awful lot of people. And the folks there, I think the main thing was, I think they're used to Trump overstating things and making last-minute decisions and being loud. But for them, it was something that was very, very real and was terrifying to them. And I think the thing that what hurt them the most was the unnecessary worry and fear for themselves, their children, etc.
The emergency bags in preparation of if the U.S. were to cut off the power?
Yeah.
Is that the implication from it? Like they were really worried that Trump might put Greenland into the dark. How could that even happen?
I guess they were, you know, there's already lots of troops there on the American bases that are there now. And the government there was just saying, look, I think it's just as an added precaution, have a go bag there ready to go. And people were saying, like, they were kind of laughing, like, what do you even put in one? And then one person was like, oh, you know, you go to the drugstore and you start picking up, you know, treats and stuff. Like, they'll go, wait a minute, how serious is this? I need candles. And, you know, that kind of stuff, when, no matter how real the threat is or not, when you're having to do those things, it adds a great deal of stress.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting. Obviously, Greenland has a very complicated history with Denmark, right? You know, the history of colonialism there and an Inuit population as well. Pelle Broberg, who was in that clip, we had him on the show. He's the leader of the opposition, and they are sort of a separatist party, right? He's the Yves-Francois Blanchet of Greenland, essentially. Yeah. But it was interesting there when he was talking to you. He made it emphatically clear, no, they don't want to join the United States. When we talked to him, he's like, look, this is a conversation for us. Stop over-amplifying it. He seems to be, where is he on it now, do you think?
He seems to be still, you know, thinking that dialogue is the best way forward and to talk about these things. But I saw a lot of similarities to Canada when I was there. You know, in the way that Mr. Trump's threats to make us the 51st state have seen barriers come down with provinces and people willing to talk to the other provinces in a more, you know, welcoming way when it comes to trade, etc. I saw a lot of people very happy that the Danish army was there, and they were smiling when those troops were there, and those same people were telling me that's not always the case, and that the Prime Minister coming and the royal families planning to come, it seems to me to be maybe strengthening those ties in a way, in much the same way that the provinces are starting to work together a bit better here in Canada because of it.
Interesting, because you were there for a couple of days, and you were there, because I remember I texted you, I said, are you still in Greenland? You're like, yes, I'm like, it was like, Trump just announced a deal at NATO, and we don't know what it is. I mean, did the mood there change at all when Trump came away from Davos? It wasn't at NATO, it was with NATO, with the Secretary General. Did the mood change at all, or do they just completely mistrust it still?
They still mistrusted it. I kind of felt a little bit of a shift into a more ease, but I think they all realized that could change within a second, you know, depending on Mr. Trump and what he would, however he woke up the next morning. But they were relieved to see that countries like Canada stood with them. And people there were saying, when I told them I'm from Newfoundland and Labrador, they knew where that was because they considered that fairly close. But I think that they felt the presence of other NATO nations standing up for them, and there were pro-NATO signs there when I was walking around. And I think that if anything, Greenland is on the map in many ways, where a lot more people are talking about Greenland at this moment, and I think it will see stronger allies come from other countries, the more Mr. Trump makes a fool of himself.
Yeah, well, it's on the map, and it may be oversized on the map, depending which projection you use, and that could be part of the motivation.
He thinks it's that big, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wonder about. So, I wonder, Mark, obviously, Greenlandic people they want to have the right to self-determination, and it's up to them and Denmark to decide what the future of that territory is. Was there a consensus on the ground there of why they think Trump wants this so bad? Do they really think it's about Arctic security? Do they think it's about critical minerals? Or is it just land and expansion? I mean, what's the sense people have there?
Everyone I spoke to, most folks didn't think it was necessarily about security. They all figured he wanted oil and minerals and to destroy the things that they want. And they also were very much aware that Mr. Trump knows nothing about them. And they were very upset that people, only a few people live there. Nobody lives there. It's just a piece of ice, things like that. The ignorance, I think, was kind of the most hurtful and embarrassing things, because they have a long history with the United States and these bases, It goes back a long ways. And they felt protected by the States for a long time, and they felt that the United States was a part of their culture for a long time. But there's just shock, and they did really feel it was about the oil. It's not about anything else.
And just as a final point, Mark, I mean, given that it's their future, their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, how did they feel about a Canadian comedian and a camera crew showing up in a Trump suit and ask them about it? What was the reaction to your goal in being there?
Well, there's a lot of media there, and the people I reached out to, the mayor, et cetera, they all said yes because they thought, oh, okay, this is something different. This guy seems to get it. He's on our side, And walking around there, people would see me come and they'd do a double take, and then they'd laugh. And then we'd talk about it while you're here. And I think sometimes humor can, in the moment, when you're in a tough situation, humor can remind you that things can get better. And I think you can use humor to shine a light and raise up their voices. Their voices are in the piece throughout. And at the end of the piece was very important to say, what would you say to Trump if you actually could? And we play everybody's point of view, because I wanted to use humor to amplify these voices, because Trump's voice right now is drowning them all out.
Mark, always good to talk to you, my friend. It's good to see you. That's Mark Critch from This Hour's 22 Minutes. That's what, 8:30 in Newfoundland, right? Tonight? Yes? Correct?
Yes, 8:30 in Newfoundland and 8 o'clock everywhere else.
Okay. All right, buddy. Good to talk to you. That's Mark Critch from This Hour's 22 Minutes.